In this lesson, we're looking at the preparations for war, sort of 33, 31 BC, between Antony and Octavian. The war's going to happen. What happens in the next, between knowing the war is definitely going to happen, how do both sides prepare? Recall both sides' preparations, and importantly, we've got to understand the mistake that Antony made, and of course, who's blamed for it? Cleopatra. Octavia, Direction Alexandria, causes of war, propaganda, logistics. If all the food supplies, getting an army somewhere, it's referred to as logistics. Fleet, Queen Kareem is the warship of the time. Legions, feast, orgy, misogyny, our old friend. So, 33 BC, the second triumvirate ends. There's the donations of Alexandria, there's the treatment of Octavia, there's a complete breakdown between Antony and Octavian, both accusing each other. Octavian accusing Mark Antony of acting like a king because of donations. Mark Antony throws back accusations about Octavian not following up on various promises he'd made about his troops, etc., etc. But essentially, triumvirate ends. Antony immediately begins preparations for war. He intends to invade Italy. This is the right thing to do. Antony has very strong forces available straight away. The way to win a Roman war is to march straight to Rome. Invade Italy, take Rome. You've got a long way to win the war if you can do that. And Antony has the advantage at this point. He has a bigger army that's better prepared. So let's look at Plutarch here. Antony received Octavian's reply, i.e., the big argument ends the triumvirate. He immediately ordered Canidius, one of his generals, to take 16 legions to march down to the sea. So 60 legions, what? 80,000 Roman soldiers taken down to the sea. This is in sort of Turkey, to be transported first to Greece and then on to Italy. He went to Ephesus, which is also in Turkey, with Cleopatra, and his fleet was collected there. So he's got his huge army, 16 legions, 800 warships and merchant vessels. So a huge army, huge fleet, all being prepared. Of these, Cleopatra provided 200 warships, 20,000 talents, several billion pounds, and supplies for the whole army. Now, all going very straight, all going very well here for Antony. He's got all his stuff ready. His logistics are looking good. But Antony, advised by Domitius, ordered Cleopatra to sail to Egypt and to wait for the results. Cleopatra, however, was afraid that Octavia would again bring an end to disagreements. So again, Cleopatra here is being blamed for being jealous and being afraid of Octavia somehow managing to use her graceful charm on Antony. So she bribed Canidius, according to Plutarch, to say to Antony, it's not fair to drive away from a war a woman who had contributed so much money in supplies. Also, there's no reason to think that Cleopatra was less intelligent than any of the other kings. Canidius put these arguments, Antony, and they were successful. So, according to Plutarch, Antony had ordered Cleopatra to clear off back to Egypt, but he's convinced to change his mind and let her stay with him. Together then, they sailed to Samos, an island off the coast of Turkey, with the entire fleet, and there enjoyed themselves in pleasures. All the king, rulers, tetrarchs, all the rulers, they all came. They were ordered to send themselves and their money and their preparations for the war to Samos. All the dramatic artists were ordered to go there too, all the actors, all the musicians. And the rest of the world was in a state of fear, anxiety about the war, while this one island was filled up with the sound of music and flutes for many days. Theatres filled up, choirs competed. So much so that that's such a big party, people started saying, if they celebrate the preparations for war so lavishly, How will they celebrate their victory when they win? Antony is delaying the attack on Rome. He's delaying his war on Octavian so he can party a little bit more with Cleopatra on Samos. How true this is, who knows, but certainly from this source, again, who's to blame? Cleopatra. So according to Plutarch, what goes wrong in Antony's plan? He doesn't stick to it. He goes to Samos to have a party with Cleopatra instead of attacking Octavian straight away. When Octavian heard how fast and large were Antony's preparations, he became quite anxious. He did not want to be forced to go to war that summer. He's in a weak position. If Antony swoops now with this huge fleet and huge army, Octavian fears he'll win. He's got problems he's got to deal with. So this delay in starting the war is considered one of Antony's greatest mistakes. As a result, he gave Octavian time to prepare and deal with the troubles in Italy. So here we go, Plutarch saying Antony's mistake is not attacking when he should have, when he could have. The delay gives Octavian a chance to recover. And whose fault is the delay, according to Plutarch? It looks very much like Cleopatra's. At the same time, the propaganda war between Octavian and Mark Antony continues. According to Plutarch, Antony had left his will with the Vestal Virgins. Important men left their will within this temple to be only read out after their death. Octavian demanded it. They wouldn't give it to him. He went in and took it. He then called a meeting in the Senate and read it aloud to them. Now, most senators thought it was a shameful thing to do. You shouldn't go into the temple and take a man's will while he's still alive. However, he does it. And Octavian points out some things that really that look bad for Mark Antony. His burial, his order, his body, even if he died in Rome, was to be taken in procession through the Forum and then to Cleopatra in Alexandria. Oh, this is bad. For a Roman to decide he wants to be buried outside Rome, he wants to be buried with his foreign queen whore in Alexandria, looks bad. Then other people come forward with other stories about Mark Antony and Cleopatra. At a feast, he had rubbed her feet. He would receive love letters on onyx tablets from her and read them whilst he was working. At one time, Furnius, an important man and a famous orator in Rome, was speaking in court. Cleopatra happened to be carried through the Forum on a litter. Antony saw her, leapt from his seat, left the court, and went with her, hanging onto her litter. He's doing some important business. He's speaking to an important man about important things. Cleopatra wanders past, gets up, runs away, and hangs out with her. Now then, Plutarch is not completely biased. However, it was generally considered that most of these charges were made up. But it doesn't matter at the time, this is propaganda making Antony look bad. So, Octavian is the main beneficiary of Antony and Cleopatra's mistake. Why and how? That's the question you've got to answer for yourself. It's fairly obvious from the video. Octavian has time to prepare himself. What else does Octavian use his time? How else does he use his time? He uses his time for more propaganda to further blacken the name of Antony. And he does that partly by attacking Cleopatra.